All right, let's get into it. Today, we're basically going on a data expedition. We're going to figure out how you take this massive, kind of complex data warehouse and turn it into clear, actionable intelligence. The stuff that actually drives smart business decisions. So, let's start the journey. So, this is the million-dollar question, right? You've done all this hard work, you've gathered mountains of information, it's all just sitting there in a data warehouse. But here's the thing. Data that's just sitting there is like having a treasure map you can't read. The real value, the real treasure, is knowing how to explore it. And that is exactly what we're going to cover.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll map out the data world so we can actually read the thing. Then, we'll get into the 5 essential moves every data explorer needs to know. We'll look at some really cool techniques like slicing, dicing, drilling down, and rolling up. After that, we'll talk about picking the right tools for the job. And then finally, we'll get to the destination, turning all that data into some really powerful decisions.
Okay, so every great expedition needs a great map. It just makes sense. Before we can even think about navigating our data, we have to understand the landscape. And that means getting to know the 2 most important landmarks in this whole data world: facts and dimensions. First up, we've got facts. The easiest way to think about facts is they are the what we're measuring. They're the core numbers, the hard data that we really want to analyze. These are the treasures we're looking for on our map. Things like sales figures, how much inventory we have, or maybe even customer satisfaction scores. They're the whole reason we're on this journey in the first place. But a treasure isn't much use if you don't know where to find it, and that's where dimensions come in. Dimensions give us all the context. They are literally the coordinates on our map. They answer all those critical questions. Who bought it? What did they buy? When did they buy it? And where did it happen? Without dimensions, our facts are just a bunch of random numbers with no meaning. And boom, here's how it all clicks together. This is called a star schema, and you can think of it as the master map for our entire data expedition. See that table right in the middle? That's the fact table, holding all our key numbers. And all those tables connected to it, kind of like the points on a compass, those are the dimension tables, giving all that data its context. This structure is just, well, it's perfect for the kind of quick exploration we need to do to find those golden nuggets of insight. All right, so we've got our map. Now it's time to learn how to move around. See, navigating this data landscape isn't about just wandering around hoping you'll find something. No, it's about making specific, strategic moves to uncover insights. These are the core operations that every data explorer absolutely has to master. And here they are, the whole toolkit laid out for us. These are the 5 fundamental techniques for navigating data. We've got slice, dice, drill down, roll up, and pivot. So let's break down what each of these moves actually lets us do. Okay, our first couple of moves, slicing and dicing, are all about perspective. They let us look at the exact same pile of data, but from totally different angles, so we can focus on what's most important for the question we're trying to answer right now.
So what's really the difference here? Well, a slice is like taking a magnifying glass to one specific part of your map. Let's say a marketing manager wants to see sales results, but only for the summer campaign. That's a slice. They're zooming in. A dice, on the other hand, is like taking that little piece of the map and turning it sideways to get a new view. The manager could then dice that campaign data to see it broken down by, say, customer age and location, looking for new patterns inside that one campaign.
Our next pair of moves, drill down and roll up, are all about adjusting your altitude, right? Sometimes you need that 30,000-foot panoramic view, and other times you need to get right down in the weeds to see every single detail. Let's look at how they work. A drill down is all about zooming in. It's like digging for buried treasure. An executive might see that, hey, Q3 sales are down. That's the summary. They then drill down to see performance by region, then by store, then maybe even by a specific product to find out exactly where the problem is. A roll-up is just the opposite. It's like climbing a mountain to get that big picture view. You might take all the individual store sales data and roll it up to get that regional summary, and then roll that up to get the national Q3 sales number in the first place. And that brings us to our last move, the pivot. Now, it's a bit like a dice operation, but the best way to think about it is like a classic spreadsheet pivot table. You're literally rotating the axes of your view. You're swapping what's in the rows with what's in the columns to create a whole new summary and hopefully uncover some totally different patterns in the data. So, we know our map and we know our moves. But hey, no explorer gets very far without the right gear. And picking the right gear really depends on what kind of expedition you're on. So first, you have to ask, who are you equipping? Are you what we call a data farmer, somebody who just needs to reliably harvest known information, like a weekly sales report? Or are you a data explorer, someone who's venturing out into the wild to find brand new, unexpected patterns? Knowing if you're a farmer or an explorer is absolutely crucial because it totally changes the tools you need. Data farmers need those reliable, scheduled reports, so reporting tools are their best friend. Data explorers, though, they need tools for interactive analysis, data mining, or maybe some advanced visualization so they can ask questions on the fly. This brings us to a big strategic choice. The best-of-breed approach is like picking specialized gear for your explorer. You get the absolute best tool for each job from different companies. It's super powerful, but you might run into headaches getting it all to work together. The total product line approach is like buying an all-in-one kit. It's often better for the farmer. Everything just works, but you might not have the most powerful tool for every single specific task.
And that brings us to the end of our journey. We've mapped out the world, we've learned the moves, we've figured out how to pick the right gear. But what's the ultimate destination? I mean, it's not just about finding interesting tidbits in the data, it's about actually using them.
This right here is the whole point. All of these concepts, the star schema, the 5 moves, picking tools based on the user, they form a bridge. They're the bridge that connects the raw, static data just sitting in your warehouse to the dynamic, living insights that let you make better, faster, and smarter decisions. This is how data stops being a line item on a budget and starts being a real competitive advantage.
So, as we wrap this up, the real question is for you. The answers you're looking for, they're already there. They're waiting in your data. Now that you know the map, the moves, and the tools, are you equipped to start your own expedition? Happy exploring!